Hey fools, I'm Eric Bleeker. I'm joined by representatives from HTC and Valve, and we're going to be looking at a new virtual reality headset that they just announced yesterday. So let's get the big picture. Tell me about the HTC Vive Pre, why consumers should be excited about it, and kind of the stump speech you have for virtual reality in general.
All right, cool. Thanks for having us. We're revealing the Vive Pre today, this week at CES, which is basically the most complete VR solution on the market, right? We're introducing a front-facing camera. We're introducing a new headset design, which is smaller, more comfortable. Really a great experience. And then we're also introducing our new controllers and base stations.
Great. And Chet, you're from Valve, which people might be more familiar with for your games. Could you talk about your involvement in helping develop this VR platform?
Sure. Both companies have been kind of approaching VR from different ways, and we said, we want that, is VR real, and is it going to be that experience kind of that you've dreamed of, the thing in the movies from the 80s that you've seen, right? And so from the ground up, we just said, this is how we're going to approach it. We're going to see if that's real, if we can pull that off, and that's what we want to go for. And so we had room scale back in 2013 where you can actually walk around and move around. And then working with HTC, we've just continued to push on that and build that out. And so the system you have now is, you do the thing everyone does in VR, is reach out. You can reach out, you can interact, you can use things. Content's around you in a full 360. You're just not up looking at it in front of you like a museum piece.
Yeah.
Right. It's essentially what we're shooting for is that feeling that you dreamt of in the 80s, of seeing that kind of running around and moving around inside of an experience, and that's what we're delivering this year.
How should investors be thinking about this from a high level as well? You guys are releasing this come April, I believe,
Yes.
in people's hands. What kind of market size are you guys hoping to address?
Looking at the content and the content that's being created, who really understands creating this type of content? It's really about creating a wide variety of experiences. The great part is, we think that early adopters, gamers, people that really want to adopt the new technology are going to jump on it very, very quickly. They're going to be very happy with it because we've built the complete experience. Is the mainstream going to just adopt it right away? I think that's going to take a little more time because that's just technology adoption as it naturally happens. But in general, when you put anybody in the headset, they come out of it with just, I had a great time, and that was a great experience.
Speaking about this from the game side, I think a lot of people think of VR as an extension of what they're used to, but it actually lends pretty well to different experiences. Could you talk about how you're maybe addressing VR beyond just kind of what you expect from a Half-Life and the right kind of games to make for it?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things was, the first thing we did was take our content and try to port it over. And ends up in like Team Fortress, the Scout runs around at 40 miles per hour. If you ran around your house at 40 miles per hour, you'd be terrified and be getting sick. And so it's like, okay, this doesn't really work right. Let's go back and let's kind of really see at the essence what the core of what this is. And that's kind of, I think, you'll see a lot of developers are really excited to work in virtual reality because it's this new thing. There's a new language. We're all learning this together, and the developers are working together on this. And so that's, we had had the opportunity to be in this space longer from our experiments. And so now we've been working with other developers as well to go explore this and see what happens. And it's this great thing of someone will come up with something like Cloudhead Games came up with a movement system called Blink. And the minute they did that, they didn't gonna curl up and not share it. Instead, I can go introduce somebody else who's looking at a movement system to Denny from Cloudhead, and he'll gladly tell them everything they did and how they did it. It's just that kind of environment. It's just developers are really excited of this new world because it is so different, and it isn't, I think, what people originally expected it to be.
Let's actually talk about that a little more, just because with any kind of new platform, you're going to need a really robust developer community. There's a lot of money pouring into VR. I know you just brought up Cloudhead. Could you talk about any other examples of maybe some smaller companies you're working with and innovative ways they're tackling VR?
Yeah, we're working with companies like Weaver and Alchemy Labs. At CES this week, we have Audi showing their experience, Dassault Systems showing their experience. It's a wide breadth of different people showing with the Vive, and we have 19 partners showing the Vive system at CES this week. We have over 53 demo experiences happening around CES with the Vive. Last year we weren't even here. This year it's everywhere.
Across every vertical, the minute you give somebody a kit or you give them the demo, and you're like, clearly it's not going to be applicable to you. They come back and they have the use case that they want, and then they go show us what they've done. and you're like, wow, okay, that totally makes sense. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that people are just starting to catch on to now is the versatility of this. This isn't this single use case. This isn't just for entertainment. It's for so many different things. And it's also for entertainment because it's really cool to be in a virtual world.
Yeah.
That's right.
Any kind of tech specs, anything you want to highlight with the newest set that you're excited about relative to your initial attempt with it?
Well, the biggest new change that we're showing with the Vive Pre is the addition of the front-facing camera. So we can actually now overlay your real world onto your virtual world, right? So now you can actually, from a convenience standpoint, you can see the chair in your room, you can see the coffee table, you can grab your chair and you can seated behind you, you can sit in it. You don't have to take your headset off. You can see another person in the room. You can grab your drink. So there's this amazing convenience factor that really, increases the safety measure. It really increases the presence measure because you're not looking for walls. You're not concerned you're going to bump into something. There's this, great safety system that's built into it. And then we're also going to open that camera up to the dev community and say, here, guys, what do you guys want to go do with this? And let them come out with all kinds of innovative new ideas for it.
Because I think people get confused about the camera. It's not a pass-through camera. Pass-through camera would just be showing you the video that you're seeing. We actually do processing on that. And so that means that developers can start doing some crazy things. We're kind of interested to see what crazy things they do.
I've heard the quote, there are two kinds of people, those who have tried VR and think it's going to change the world, and those who think it's still kind of a ridiculous science fiction idea. So could you talk about presence and how important that is, and maybe giving demonstrations that kind of show its power and how it applies to VR?
Well, I mean, just thinking about it from what we thought about VR from original state of what did we want from an experience standpoint? What did we think users would want from a standpoint? We said, yes, you have to be in the middle of the content. You actually want the holodeck. You want the content all around you. You want to be able to interact with it. You want to be able to move inside of the space and not be looking at it from, an outside point of view. And so if you're going to lean around a corner, you just want to just lean around the corner. If you want to, interact and pick something up, the first thing you do when you put that headset on is put your hands out. You want to interact with the content. We thought, this system has to be the full, complete experience, the best possible experience. 2 controllers, 360 degrees, you're at the center. The content is all around you. You're going to interact with it. And so we said, that's the best experience you could possibly bring. And so when we bring that to market, that's the experience we want users to have. That's the maximum presence feeling that they're going to experience. And that's the most fun. So that's what we shot for. And that's what's here, and that's what's ready today, this year.
Great. And I hate to put you on the spot with a question like this, but where is virtual reality in 5 years? Where do you see this going? And I know it's kind of a ridiculous question, but I'm trying to bring it back to the investors out there. Think about just how big this can be. Where would you be happy with virtual reality being in 5 years?
Well, I think, we would be extremely happy if, the gaming industry and the developer community just really embraced the technology and said, I can apply this to so many things, and continued to really believe in the, the experience and the content creation. And I really want to see that continue to grow, and then this non-gaming space, we think there's a ton of application, for just improving in medical and education and all these other sectors that could apply this to better ways of actually doing their business, better ways of doing, education application, studying, for medical application. There's just so many possibilities. In 5 years from now, I would love to see this thing in everybody's living room and everybody using it to actually better their lives in some way and have fun and be entertained.
Great. I think that's a good amount for today. And if you're looking for any more VR content, make sure to check back to our Supernova Hub. Full on.